Welcome back. Still, we're talking about the 23rd of July Revolution 1952. And this time we're going to focus more on its impact on the cultural life, on the economic status, and different sectors in Egypt. Well, over the phone we have Mr. Sherif Shobashi, and he is a media professional and journalist. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. So first of all, could you tell us more about the impact of the revolution on the cultural life?
Okay, listen, we have first to define the word revolution. What does it mean, a revolution? A revolution is a radical transformation of the structure of a society. So, did the 23rd of July revolution make a radical transformation? I would say definitely yes, on several levels. First of all, on the sociological level, the classes, Egypt was divided, before the revolution of the 23rd of July, Egypt was divided into two spheres. The Egyptian society was divided into two spheres. The ordinary people, the ordinary citizens, which constituted the majority of the people, and they were mostly poor, sometimes extremely poor, and they were uneducated. And there was the class of the pashas and of the beys and of the landlords, with the landowners, and this was quite a different society, let alone the ruling family, the Muhammad Ali family, who were not Egyptian, who had nothing to do with Egypt, who were Albanians. They were Turkish speaking, and Turkish, culturally they were Turkish, but they were Albanian, and this was, there was a semblant of democracy. People say it was complete, and it was not real democracy. And I would give you one, I would state something that would prove that it was not a democracy. The Al-Wafd party, which was the most influential and the most popular party, won the elections and ruled the country 7.5 years only. Just 7.5 years, though it was the most popular. So it was not a real democracy. What did the revolution do? It gave Egypt back to Egyptians. The society has become Egyptian. The rulers, the government was composed of Egyptians, and the ruler was Egyptian. Of course, there is a backdraw. There is what is the negative side of it is that the new people who ruled Egypt at that time had not enough experience, because for generations and generations, for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, Egypt was ruled by foreign people, mainly Turkish-speaking people, from Turkey, sometimes from Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan, and all these countries. Since the 23rd of July revolution, Egypt was ruled by Egyptians who spoke Egyptian or Arabic, and this was a radical transformation. On the cultural level, I would say that Egypt was linked culturally before the revolution to Turkey and to England, to Europe in general. Let's say to Europe in general, because France also had a great influence. And it was known that the ruling family was raised either, as they used to say, a la turca or a la franca, which means either the Turkish way of life and the Turkish language and the Turkish concept of life, or the European traditions and the European concept of life. So, yes, the 23rd of July revolution, by the way, I always say, and some people are angry with me, it was not a revolution at the start. It was a coup. It was a coup d'etat. But it developed into a real revolution, as I tried to explain very briefly, because the structure, the whole structure and the deep structure of the society was completely shattered. There was, before the revolution, a profound dichotomy between the classes in Egypt. And after the revolution, there was a new class, which was the middle class, which made the whole difference. And this is why Egypt after the revolution is completely different from Egypt before the revolution.
So when we talk about the Egyptian cinema and being used as a tool for talking more or shaping the national identity and showing the era of the 23rd of July revolution, so what could you tell us in this respect?
Well, you know, Egyptian cinema has evolved in the 30s and the 40s. So during the king's time, the Muhammad Ali family's rule, and it was a very good cinema. I'm not saying that everything was negative before the 23rd of July. It would be foolish to say that. So there was a very good cinema, but as I told you, the concepts were different. There was the social dimension, equality, Egyptian sovereignty, Egyptian independence, proud of being Egyptian. All these values were shown and displayed and by the Egyptian cinema after July 23rd, 1952. And this was I would say, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s were the golden time of the Egyptian cinema.
Well, in what way can we describe it during the Nasser's era? I mean, it was written that during that era, the cinema focused on showing how, when it comes to a real national identity, talking about the Egyptian citizen, a real citizen, the responsible citizen, showing the ideal shape that actually we were looking for. So to what extent we can say, is this right or wrong?
I would say this is, to a great extent, this is quite right. And as I told you, before 1952, the pashas and the beys and the ruling class and the landlords were really the masters of Egypt. And this has changed drastically, and it was reflected by the cinema and by the values promoted by the cinema. The value of equality, equality of chances, education, and after 1952, there was a real boom in Egyptian culture, a boom. Books were available to everybody. University was free of charge. What else? There were usul thaqafa everywhere in Egypt, and it was a huge. It was a real revolution in the true sense of the word, like the French Revolution, which is the mother of all revolutions, in 1789, that transformed radically the society in France and in Europe and in the world.
Well, to what extent did the state institutions, like, for example, as you mentioned, Ministry of Culture, actually promote the genuine attitude, actually, of freedom, many different aspects of social life regarding the 23rd of July revolution?
Excuse me, I didn't
Well,
catch
talking about the institutions at that
Yes.
time, especially the Ministry
Yes.
of Culture, and how
Yes.
far did it play a role in promoting
Yes,
freedom and promoting
Yes.
the concept of the equity among citizens, just as you
Yes.
mentioned
Yes.
now?
As you know, of course, during the king's time, there was no Ministry of Culture. It did not exist. It was a little section in the Ministry of Education. Then, when the 23rd of Revolution arrived, they were quite aware of the importance of culture and of cultural tools. And the industry of culture became extremely important, as we said, the cinema, the books, because culture at that time needed the help of the state, needed the money of the state, the financing of the state. So this is why this new Ministry of Culture, with a great minister called Mr. Sarwat Okasha, they played a very important role in promoting culture through institutions and not through individuals. Because before there were individuals like Taha Hussein, like Al-Aqad, who were, each of them was an academy on its own, but they were not institutions. The 23rd of July revolution was aware that you have to have institutions like the book administration, like cinema administration. But I wouldn't say that we should do that now. Now the situation is different. Our problem in Egypt is that we always think that time that culture is timeless. No, it is bound to, by the actual situation. So at that time, we needed institutions, and the institutions were very strong. They were highly financed, and this is how there was a real transformation, and this is how the middle class in Egypt became the real most important class in our country. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Sherif Shobashi, media professional and journalist, thank you very much for joining us. And I guess with this we come to the end of our breakfast show for today. Thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned for more coming up on Nile TV International.